Sundays that we have started these sessions, and today is the last one. Rather than the last one, I would say that this is the time when we are going to pause for a moment, maybe for a couple of weeks, and then again we can get back to the learning zone. So, friends, as we had discussed the other day when we started our series, the basic purpose of this series was to share some insights with all of you so that you'll be able to understand what and why are the changes taking place. So, basically, to develop the logic which will help you develop a vision for your own organization. Correct? This training is incomplete unless and until all of us put together the learning in our own organization. So I hope the purpose of the series was achieved, because we hope that based on the feedback which we have received, we understand that the series was able to ignite the vision, innovation, and creativity between most of you. And we also understand that the series has not only helped you understand the business of the future, but also the future of the business. So with this, friends, let's get started. Today, what we are going to do, we are going to discuss initially around 1 hour, and after that, two of the participants who are recognized speakers as well as very senior professionals, they are also going to share their insights with all of us. So till 11:30, we will continue our session. After that, both the seniors, they would join one by one, and finally, we will have a concluding remark. So with this, let's get started for the day. Friends, the entire discussion today is going to revolve around the U word, that is the uncertainty, the unsolvable questions, and about us. What you would have seen that over the couple of millions of years, rather, we have seen that whenever there was some change, because as human beings, we are used to change. It is not that we are not used to change. But what has happened that over a couple of last millennial or last few couple of years, whenever there was a new innovation, whenever there was a new invention, correct, that invention to some extent brought a certainty in our life. So whether it was fire, whether it was steam engine, whether it was electricity, whether it was the assembly line of production, whether it was transistor, the personal computer, the internet, correct, whether it was mobile internet, everything to some extent brought certainty in our life. This is the first time what we are observing, that the new technological innovation are rather increasing the uncertainty for most of us. Why that is happening? Because the basic business premises, the basic assumptions are getting questioned again and again. And this is very much apparent. This is very much apparent when you look at the various assumptions which are falling apart, correct? Because when you look at the assumptions, the basic assumption, for example, for agriculture purpose, we need land, correct? That's the basic assumption which we have. But if you look at the kind of changes which are taking place in the agriculture area, now they are not talking about horizontal farming, but they are now talking about vertical farming. That's a big change which is taking place. So that basic assumption that for farming you need a land, that is getting questioned. In healthcare, we always talked about the fact that we need to diagnose or we need to treat something which is the problem in a human body. But right now, the thought process is that before diagnosing, before treating some disease, can we predict that what that person is going to develop? So it is more about predictions rather than treating the existing disease. So right now, the scientist or app maker, they are working on a technology wherein they are saying, can we measure, can we highlight, or can we share with you before 3 hours that your sugar levels are going to go up or go down? Now that again, a huge change as far as healthcare is concerned. Second important change which we see again in healthcare is that typically as human being, we always say that you can cure diseases, correct, and for that you will need medicines. Now the scientists are going one step ahead. They are saying that we are not talking about curing the diseases after they arise. They are saying that we can change the genes of a person before that person is born, and we can make him disease free to some extent. Because as you would be knowing that as far as humans are concerned, all the participants who are joining today, I would say that all of us and all our genes are actually 99.5% same. It's across all human beings that 99.5% genes are always same, correct? The DNA sequence of any two people would be always same. But what happens that this 5%, this 0.5 half percent change which is there in all of us, that half percent change is actually responsible for some of the diseases being which arise over a period of couple of years in our bodies, correct? So it is that 0.5% which makes the difference, and that's where the scientists are saying that can we change the genes before a person is born, and can we make him say some disease free, for example heart attack free person, because that genes would be amended by of that baby which is born. And please note, there are already some tools known as CRISPR tools which are already been prepared to make the changes in the genes. And already, as we are speaking, 2 children are already born in China using these tools. It is also said that there is also a gene which is responsible in our DNA. There is also genes which are responsible for aging, because after a couple of years as we age, those genes actually switch off. So they will not repair the body cells, because as we grow, as we our when we are younger, as we get older, our body there is a inbuilt repair system, correct? That repair system switches off because it is then more time consuming and more energy it requires, and that's where it switches off. Now they are saying, can we stop this genetic sequence, because there is a this STRC6 gene they have identified. They said, can we change that genes itself, and can we stop aging, or we can give longevity to a person? Another important change which is taking place in healthcare, that typically we always talk about the fact that typically you will need to repair an organ. Now they are saying that instead of repairing an organ, can we change the organ itself? They are already talking about changing or creating an organ itself. For example, creating a heart, creating a liver, and not only the earth they are going to create, they are talking about creating those organs even in space. Because when you create those organs in space, because there is no gravity, you don't need a scaffolding to hold that particular part. And that's where the bioprinting is going to change the landscape of healthcare, but not immediately, but in a couple of next few years. Similarly, if you look at the healthcare, you will be surprised to know that typically you will need humans to do the testing. Now, the FDA has already approved biosimulation. That is, it is computer-based simulation for testing the drugs. Now, all these are huge changes if you look at it. And not only that, not only in the healthcare, you can also see changes which are taking place in various other areas. Typically, a business, it is said, will take decades to gain 1 million customer, correct? Because if you look at TVs became popular, maybe I think the 5 million number of TVs they were able to reach after 22 years. The same number which the number of mobile were able to reach within 12 years. Then if you look at internet took 7 years to reach to 5 million people. Facebook took 4 years, and an app like WeChat, it just took 1 year. But right now there are few other apps, such as a gaming app known as Pokemon Go. It was able to reach 5 million people within just few days, and within a month's time, it was downloaded by more than 173 million people. So all the basic assumptions which we have, those assumptions are getting questioned, and they will continue to get questioned, correct? Even when you look at the valuation of various firms, organizations which is there, already if you look at it, typically reaching $1 billion valuation, that means a company having 7,000 crore rupees worth valuation, typically it is said that it will take a couple of decades. But look at a company like Bird, which is a startup, it just took less than 12 months, it reached 1 billion valuation within 1 year's time, correct? Less than 1 year time, that is just within 11 months it was able to reach $1 billion valuation. And that's where we think that not only the various assumptions which we have about the basics, the basic premises which we have, those are going to get questioned, but many other assumptions are going to get questioned. Even look at the basic assumption, like say all of us today are able to see and connect to the internet and see this webinar, because either you would be using the Wi-Fi or you would be using the fiber cables, correct? Now please note that they are saying that you don't need a fiber cable. Now they can beam the internet through satellite. Now this is something extremely novel concept, and there is already a big name in this industry, that is, I think all of you would be knowing, Elon Musk was already announced his Starlink kind of a constellation, wherein he would be able to put across more than 42,000. He has already got approval also for putting 42,000 satellites across the orbit of the Earth. And that's where this thing, that is, they would be able to directly beam the internet through satellites, is again going to be a big game changer. as far as if you are an internet service provider, this could be a big threat to you also, because you can understand that if the satellite is going to beam the internet, what would happen to the physical cables, correct, which are actually providing the internet to all of us. And there is another big change which is going to take place. Maybe it will happen after a couple of decades, but typically you would have seen that scientists who are working in all these technologies, typically it is said that these scientists have a very high IQ level. The topmost IQ level of few of the scientists, such as Stephen Hawking, Einstein, was 160. And these scientists were able to actually bring out some biggest innovation for the mankind. Now understand that a super intelligence, correct? Super intelligence, if that super intelligence is having an IQ level of 5,340, what kind of changes that super intelligence can bring? Because the other day we had discussed about artificial intelligence, correct? Artificial intelligence has typically three types. One, artificial narrow intelligence, known as ANI. Then there is artificial human level intelligence, that is as good as all of us as one person. And then there is a concept of super intelligence, which means that that computer or that software or program is more powerful, has more knowledge than all the 7 billion people put together. So understand what kind of changes, what kind of invention this kind of a super intelligence can bring. And friends, as we talk about the super intelligence, maybe it is just a couple of decades away. We don't have to worry about it immediately. But understand what few of the biggest scientists are saying. They are saying machine intelligence is the last invention which humanity will need. And that's where all of us need to become a bit careful. We need to become a bit worried, because as leaders we need to understand the changes and not only guide our own self, but we also have to guide our team members. Because please note that as the computers, as the machines are going to become more powerful, many people are going to lose jobs. Because as humans, what are the skill set which we have? We have only two skill set broadly. What activities we do? We don't do more than two activities. One, either our activity is physical in nature, that is you are doing some labor job, or you are doing some cognitive job. As far as physical job is concerned, correct, if you look at the various factories right now, the advanced factories, the other day we saw that Siemens Hamburg factory, correct, it was completely automated. You can see that there are extremely few handful people who are working in that factory. The first picture in this slide which you are able to see, you can see that there is the giga factory of Tesla, and you literally cannot find a human which is working there. Then there are few warehouses which are being developed, and even in the warehouses you cannot see a human being. Then there are few delivery drones or delivery vehicles which are being prepared, which are being invented, wherein you can see that there is no human who is driving the vehicle, but they are automated vehicle. Then you can see a shop like Amazon Go, wherein there are no cashiers. Now please note that factory workers, warehouse workers, transport boys, delivery boys, people who are working as cashiers, they actually number in millions as far as population is concerned. But as the robots are going to take jobs, correct, the challenge would be a huge challenge for all the entire humanity to face. And including, please note that the jobs which are going to go would not only belong to the I would say lower middle class, but even some of the upper middle class jobs are also at the risk. It is said even a chartered accountant like us, we have a risk of the job being taken away by the system. The risk is projected as high as 95%. So it is not a low risk. So they are saying 95% probability that we might lose our work, we might lose our job. And that's going to happen not in the couple of years, but in the couple of decades. And that's where, friends, we have to understand that the technology to some extent is going to become more powerful, and it is going to change the way we are going to work. But friends, we always believe that it is not the technology which is going to defeat us, but rather our own self, correct? If you actually prepare for the future, nobody can defeat you, not even the technology. Friends, whenever we talk about or think about technology, it's bit, we always think in a skeptical way that whether it will happen or not, or how much time we have. I think it is not about whether these changes will happen or not. We have to ask ourselves, if these changes happen, are we geared up, correct? Because a person who is fighting on the border, correct, a soldier, he never says that if there is a fight, I will get prepared. It's never like that. We have to prepare well in advance. The soldiers who sweat during peacetime, bloodless during war. That is what it is said. So if you sweat less, if you actually work hard, if you sweat more during the peace time, you are going to bloodless during the war time. That's why you have to prepare well in advance. Friends, please note, if you look at the past, you'll be able to realize that many a time, whenever there was a technological change, technology actually gave us enough or ample time to gear up for the change. Look at the transition which happened from typewriter to computer. Practically, people got 2 decades to do a transition from typewriter to computer. But please note, that kind of a time we will not be having this time, because the pace of technological evolution is increasing. We may not have around 20 years of time the way we had earlier, but I think this time we might be having even a shorter time. And that's where what we should do. The first thing we need to understand, that we need to stop worrying about the technology and we have to start acting toward the technology. It's not about worry, but it's rather about the action. What action we are going to take? Friends, today we are going to give you, for these actions, what actions you have to take. We are going to give you 2 frameworks. One for you as individual, and second framework for you as an organization. So if these 2 frameworks you are able to apply in your own organization, we believe that nobody can take the job or work or the product and services from your side, and you'll be able to continuously work as an organization. You'll be able to continuously survive for a much longer time. Friends, it is also said that when we look at all the challenges, these problems appear to be very deep problem. But please note, whenever the problems are extremely deeper problems, sometimes the solutions can be extremely simple. Please note, I am saying that the solutions could be simple, but I am not saying that the solutions are going to be easy. Correct? So solution can be simple, provided you actually act on those solutions. So what are those solutions? Let us understand. This framework which we have designed, this framework is for individuals. Please note, these are simple but extremely powerful steps. Sometime you might find, when we are taking the session, you might find us a bit preachy, but just get over that part. Correct? We are not trying to sound preachy. We are just trying to share with you how we have, as an individual, how as a firm, we have been able to make ourselves relevant for the future all the time. Because you'd be surprised to know that way back in 2009, when as a professional we were working in the field of service tax, that time only, in 2009 only, we were able to understand that GST was around the corner. And that's where in 2009 itself we started working on GST. For 8 years till 2017, we continuously worked on GST. We conducted more than 200 sessions, numerous sessions for in-house session for our client. We help many clients to do the GST impact analysis, and we also help them do the transition. And many of you are also taking part today in the today's session. So that means we started working on GST not in 2016, but way back in 2009. That means much before when the GST was likely to be introduced. That's where you need to spot an opportunity and you have to work on it. Similarly, not only we were able to spot as a firm GST related stuff, but we were also able to identify another opportunity, that is the opportunity of working on the Gulf VAT. When GST was settling down in India in the month of July 2017, we started working on another big opportunity, that was Gulf VAT. And for 6 months, we worked on the UAE VAT. We were stationed in UAE. We were staying in Dubai for around 6 months, and we helped numerous firms to be future ready for UAE VAT. After that, we continued to work not only on UAE VAT, but we also worked on Oman VAT. We also worked on Bahrain VAT. And that's where, friends, it's not that you need to only work on the present, but equally it is important for all of us to work on the future if we want to be relevant for the future. And that's where we think this framework, which we have designed for our own firm, which we have designed for our own self, can be of relevance to all of you. First, let us understand what are the things which all of us should do as an individual. The first and foremost thing you need to do is actually claim back your memory from the system. Friends, you would have noticed last couple of years, you are forgetting more. Many things we keep on forgetting, correct? Why it is happening? Because we have actually we have outsourced our memory. We have outsourced our personal memories to Facebook. We have outsourced our official memories. We have outsourced our basic memory, like say something which you would like to note. We are noting it down in the either in the email, or we are noting it down in some notes or some other app. So we are trying to create an external layer. We are trying to create an external layer of memory, which is residing outside our brain. correct? Please note that this external layer of memory, we always go back to whenever we are not able to find something. So whenever somebody is asking you something, if you are unable to find it, immediately you will reach to your mobile or immediately you will reach to your laptop. Friends, I think that is the biggest problem which we are facing, that we are always relying on external memory. Please note that how a brain functions typically, a human brain function in a manner wherein there is a substantial amount of memory and substantial amount of knowledge which is residing in our own brain. It should not be residing outside, correct? A substantial amount of knowledge and memory should be residing in our own mind. That is first point. Second, after that, when somebody is asking you a query, what will happen within your brain, you will try to understand the query, your existing knowledge and the query will actually get tossed in between, and then you will come out with a creative solution. That's how a brain works. But what is happening, every time we are unable to remember something, we are immediately reaching out to the laptop or we are reaching out to the mobile, and that's where we are not having enough memory in our brains. We are actually forgetting a lot of things. Many people I know, many professional, some of you who are joining today, I know personally that you are habitual of taking notes on the laptop. You always write down something on the laptop and you are very happy about the fact that you will forget, but laptop will never ever forget. Friend, that is good thing. I am not saying we should stop documenting things. We should not we should not store something on the laptop or mobile. We should, but at the same time, whenever there are good ideas, whenever there are good concepts, whenever there are something good, important thing, please make it a habit to note it down even on a piece of paper. It's extremely important, because unless and until you develop your own memories again, unless and until you go back, you claim back your memories, you will not be able to identify a solution. Because as we discussed, the brain will only come out with solution when there is a substantial knowledge in the brain. And that's where you would have seen that when there is a substantial knowledge within you, when somebody is asking you a question, you are able to give a right creative solution. That's where please note, please make a note, make a note of this thing, that whenever you are having some doubt, whenever you are having some question regarding when you want to remember something, go back to the notes, correct, rather than going back to the laptop. So this is a very important point, but very simple point, that you need to claim back your memory. Please write down something on the piece of paper rather than writing everything down on the laptop. Friends, as we are going to discuss few more steps also, another step is go back to books. Before I get on to another step, I would like to share that many a time you would say that these are extremely simple steps. They are not going to help. You would be skeptical, but at the same time, please note, your brain is extremely powerful. The brain will tell you not to rely on the pages. The brain will again tell you it is much better to rely on the computer. And the brain will tell you, don't give me any exercise, correct, of remembering something, because it is extremely difficult for me to remember so many things. So the brain will play games with you, but please don't let your brain play games with you. Take these steps. These are extremely simple steps. For next couple of weeks, if you are able to take these steps, you'll be able to become creative and you'll be able to see the change in your life. Now, second important step, as we are discussing, was with respect to go back to books. Friends, what is happening in the today's era, whenever we have a doubt, correct, what we do, we immediately go to Google, we search for something, and then we get some answers. But the problem is that because all of us are searching on the Google, correct, the biggest challenge is that it is Google who is deciding what we are going to find. While we are deciding what we are going to search, who is deciding what we are going to find? Google. Google means who? Basically the algorithm, correct? And this algorithm, which is actually deciding what we are going to find, the algorithm, what it does, it actually removes the irrelevant data. And the problem with that irrelevant data is that many a time you will find, because the irrelevant data is getting removed by the algorithm, all of us, if we are searching for some particular issue, all of us are going to stumble upon the same plain vanilla answer, correct? And right now, if you go on the Google and type some question, you'll be surprised to know that Google is not only going to give you answer, but it is also predicting what question you are going to type. And that's where, friends, not only the answers are same, but also the question which are being asked to Google, now they are also exactly the same. And that's where you would have actually identified, or many of you as business leader would have found out this important thing, that all the team members who are reporting to you, or your colleagues or your friends, they are not coming up with innovative solutions. All of us are actually stumbling upon the same thing, same old, same advisory, same solutions. Why we are not coming up with interesting solutions? Why we are not coming up with creative solutions? Because practically you will be knowing that there is a huge importance, there is a huge importance of irrelevant data. Many a time the scientist, many a time you would have heard also, you would have read stories also of the scientists who were able to discover something magnificent, we were able to discover something awesome only because they stumbled upon something which was completely irrelevant. So the importance of irrelevant data is substantial. That's why you need to understand that you need to search for something in books rather than on Google. Second, try to read as many books as possible. Many a time when we discuss with the CEOs, business owners, they always say that, would you like to recommend books? We are extremely happy. We will be more than happy to recommend books. We would be more than happy to share with you the books. The other day also we shared the list of the books. But please note that it is equally important for you to read irrelevant books also, because the irrelevant books will actually tell you what is relevant. That is one important thing. And second, because of the irrelevant data, you would be also in a position to understand some creative aspect. And because of that, a new idea can originate. And that's where, friends, please note that it is extremely important for you to read books rather than only search on Google. Now, some of the participant had asked us that where can I get these books, and we shared some of the Amazon and other links. Now, once you go to Amazon, you would have seen that typically the algorithm at the Amazon will also recommend you some books. It will say people who bought this book also bought these books. Now, please ensure that you are buying books maybe at Amazon, maybe at Flipkart, maybe online, no problem. But also make it a habit. Make it a habit to visit a bookstore. Not immediately, because Corona is ongoing, not immediately, but maybe after a couple of months, make it a habit to visit a bookstore, maybe a Crosswords or any other bookstore, ABC, any shop which you like, go there and just wander in that bookstore and then buy books. It's extremely important that algorithm should not determine which books you are going to read, but rather you should stumble upon those books. It's extremely important. And because of that, this one single habit, you'll be able to understand a big, profound impact will actually take place on your life. I will also share with you that many a time people say that I have books, I have enough books in my library, I have maybe 50, 60 books, but they are just lying in the shelf. How should I read those books? I will share with you how you should read the books. What typically we do as professionals, what we have typically followed this methodology, typically I will allot around 1 or 2 hours for reading books, maybe early in the morning, say 7 to 9, 6 to 8, or late in the night, maybe 9 to 11 p.m. And I have this basic principle that when I'm allotting a time for reading, when I'm allotting a time for thinking, when I'm allotting a time for to do something, then either I will do that or I will do nothing. So I have told myself very clearly that if I allotted a time for reading, then I will do reading only. And if I'm not doing reading, no problem. I will not do anything else. That means I cannot write, I cannot check my mobile, I cannot write emails, I cannot do anything. So when you allot a particular time, maybe 1 hour a day, 2 hour a day, whatever time you are allotting, when you allot that time, just stick to it. That's it. If you are able to do that, you will be able to read n number of books. I can share with you as professional, typically it takes for us to read a new book, takes around 3 to 4 days or maximum weeks time. So in a year, typically if I look at the last couple of years, I would have read 50 plus books in a year. And right now, even after reading so many books, I personally feel that I need to read many more books. I always feel that vacuum within me that we are reading, we are falling short of reading. And please note that the 50 books which we are referring to, they are other than our regular books, because GST books we have to read because that is the work which we are supposed to do. But something more you always need to read, because then only you can come out with good ideas, then only you'll be able to work on the future. That's where, friend, this one single step can help you read more. That is, when you are allotting a particular time, just read, don't do anything else. That's it. Friends, Many a time people have also mentioned that we are used to going to the Facebook, LinkedIn, and various apps. So what should we do? Herein, I would like to share with you one important trigger, which typically I employ whenever I would like to go to Facebook. I tell myself whenever I would like to go to Facebook, I always tell myself Facebook or face the book. It's a choice, correct? I have. So I always say Facebook or face the book. And many a time, I will always go to face the book rather than going to Facebook. It's not that I am not active on Facebook. I am regularly. I also regularly post my daughter's videos and all on Facebook. If you are on Facebook, you can go and check. I do that. I love to do it. But that question I always ask myself: should I Facebook or should I face the book? And almost like say 80-90% of the time, I will face the book rather than Facebook. So we cannot do away with the social media, we agree, but you have to create a trigger to your own self so that at least this kind of a methodology wherein you are habitually going to Facebook, that can be broken. Second, you might be addicted to say LinkedIn. So we have created a term like say LinkedIn or link within, correct? So these kind of triggers can help you go back to your own self rather than finding your own self in the social media. So these are very important trigger and they can also help you de-addict yourself from the social media. Friends, there is another important thing which we would like to share, that is to do with uh, our own habit of getting entertained. Friends, almost all the apps which are there, whether it is WhatsApp, whether it is Facebook, whether it is Twitter, whether it is Instagram, correct? All these apps, they have become billion-dollar app only because they were able to hook the users, correct? So they make money because all of you are hooked. But please note, because we are hooked to those apps, because we are hooked to those things, we are losing our future, we are losing our fortune. As human being, we always have that fear of missing out. But I think we need to now focus on joy of missing out. So there is fear of missing out. If you would have seen that if you are not on WhatsApp, you will immediately you will immediately start thinking whether there is some message in some group, correct? You'll be worried about what is happening on some other social media platform, what is happening on Twitter, what people are saying. So that is going to happen. There is always going to be a fear of missing out. But please know, friend, that whenever there is fear of missing out, you should focus yourself on joy of missing out. Because sometimes ignorance is bliss. Rather, almost all the time, I would say ignorance is bliss. As human being, you'll be surprised to know that as human being, we were never ever exposed to so much of information. Never ever. In the last couple of, before Google era, correct, before 1999, before Christ जैसा होता है वैसा now they call before Google, BG. Before Google, we were never ever exposed to that much information. We always had our libraries and we had our encyclopedia. That's it. We were never ever exposed to that much information, and that too at a continuous basis, which we are getting exposed to in just last couple of years. Second, you would have seen that just a couple of years ago, you were typically working with your very close friend, you were always connecting with your close relatives, correct? There was a circle of influence which you had and you were interacting with them. But because of again WhatsApp and all these social media platforms, the explosion, has been a big explosion in connection. The number of connection which we had have exceedingly, they have increased. And finally, I would say the last final nail in the coffin is the entertainment explosion. The entertainment explosion. This has taken place just a couple of years ago. Because before that, before 2015, the internet was extremely slow. There was always used to be that buffering, and that's why people were not hooked to the entertainment as far as the internet was concerned. But because of the fast internet, all of us are now getting hooked to the entertainment also. As a human being, we are not exposed to, our brain was never ever exposed to so much of information. It was never ever exposed to so much of connection. It was never ever exposed to so much of entertainment. And that's where you would have found out that the kind of solution which we are able to provide in the last couple of years, the quality of those solutions is going down. Maybe as far as quantity is concerned, that is increasing, but the quality of those solutions is going down. And why that is happening? I think that is happening because of one single thing, that we are now never ever alone, not even in bathroom. And I would share with you that I think all of us, When we get up, correct, we take our mobile even into our bathroom. When we are during our day also, we take our mobile in our washroom. When you are driving, your mobile with you. When you are working, you are having your mobile. When you are reading, you are keeping your mobile aside. When you are talking to someone, even when you might be attending webinar today, you might be having your mobile just nearby. When we are sleeping, that time also the mobile is actually beside us, maybe because we want to get up in the morning and the alarm is there only. But friends, because of this one constant companion, actually you will be surprised to know that we are actually missing on those thinking seconds. And what is this thinking seconds? The thinking seconds are basically just couple of decade ago or couple of years ago, when we were in the bathroom, when we were alone, when we were driving a car, when we were actually driving a two-wheeler, or when we were walking alone. That time there were many a time we actually used to come out with brilliant ideas, correct? But because of this one constant companion which we are having, we are actually not able to get hold of good ideas, and that's where we are struggling with good ideas. And please note that when you look at the legends, when you look at the legends which we have taken name also in the past, be it Elon Musk, be it Jeff Bezos, when you look at these legends, how much time they have? They also have same time, that is 24 hours, the way we are having. But look at the way they are growing, correct? We are not envy, we are not jealous of they growing. Certainly they are the legend and we need to look up to someone, no? So we are literally, they are our idols, one can say. But if you compare, they are also having 24 hours and we are also having 24 hours. Right now these companies, the company they are heading, they are struggling to meet the demand. Elon Musk, Tesla, they are unable to meet the demand because they have a more number of consumers, correct? And their problem is they are unable to meet the demand. Whereas in our case, it's exactly opposite. Now, why these people are able to come out with these kind of brilliant ideas, how they are able to execute it? Only because of the time, because they are not investing their time in non-essential items. You would have seen a legend like Steve Jobs, correct? A person like Mark Zuckerberg. They even don't change their clothes. Means they change their clothes, but the color of the clothes remains literally same: the black T-shirt and the blue jeans. They don't even want to invest their time in what dress they should wear. So they always try to cut down upon the non-essential time. So if we are able to cut down upon the non-essential time, we will be able to become as successful as them, or at least not like them, but at least substantially more successful than what we are today. So the big takeaway for all of you is, do two important things. When you are not doing anything, do nothing intensely. Correct? Do nothing means do nothing. Don't keep your mobile with you. And second important thing, and which we need to tell our brain, which we have to tell our brain, is that we should be happily bored. Every time you get bored, you immediately go back to the entertainment, either on YouTube or some other platform you are going. But please tell your brain to be happily bored. That's extremely important. And why that is important? Because in days to come, in years to come, as the competition will increase tenfold, that time what is going to differentiate a professional who is successful versus a professional who is not? The ability to maintain intense level of concentration for extended period of time. That is going to be the differentiator. Right now, if you do research on some of the studies, as per them, the current level of concentration which most of us are having is actually 6 to 8 seconds. That's it. People are unable to concentrate for more than 6 to 8 seconds. So it is less than a minute practically. And please note, the people who would be successful in days to come would be only people who are able to concentrate for more than few couple of hours. And that's where we have to claim back. We have to claim back our concentration. And the fourth important thing we would like to share with you is that many a time when you go to these apps, when you go to these platforms, when you are checking your mobile, when we are trying to find ourselves in the screen, what happens? That typically you will be using your thumb, correct? You are scrolling up and you are scrolling down. You are going from one app to another app. Whenever that is happening, you have to tell your own self, is it a thumb rule that you need to be hooked to the mobile, or whether the thumb is ruling? That is it a thumb rule or is it thumb rules? Thumb rules means literally your thumb is ruling and it is telling, or it is guiding you. It should be other way around. You need to guide your thumb. You need to see, and what you should not see. You will recall in good old days, people who were not educated, they were called as Anguta Chap. Correct? Why they were called as Anguta Chap? Because they were always solely relying on their thumbs. Practically, friends, after the invention of mobiles and the internet, I think right now, many of us can also be called as Anguta Chap because we are investing so much of our time on mobile. You might find myself a bit harsh, but we have to tell ourselves in this manner only. Unless and until you are harsh on your own self, you will not be able to break your habits. Friends, recall that old story of Eklavya. You would be able to recall that Dronacharya asked one important thing from Eklavya. What he asked? He asked for his thumb. Correct? So please understand the importance of thumb. Because the thumb was taken away, Eklavya was not able to win. But in today's time, if that thumb is taken away, practically you will be able to win. And that's where please don't allow the thumb to rule. Correct? Because these apps, which appear to be a free apps, they are actually costing us our fortune. And literally, many of us are actually just exploring the bottom of the Facebook, or we are exploring the bottom of the LinkedIn or some other app. We have stopped exploring the bottom of the earth, and we have stopped exploring the skies. Correct? Rather, we are always hooked up to the mobile, and we are always looking up the bottom of the Facebook. So please stop doing it. Correct? Because all these are big speed breakers which will stop you from achieving your dreams. So what we have shared, friends, we have shared 4 important things for all of you at a personal level. 1, you need to claim back your universe. I think all of you are aware universe is made of 4 things: time, space, energy, and matter. So claim back your time for thinking. Claim back your those seconds. You don't need time to meditate. Please note, you don't need minutes or hours to meditate. Not at all required. Just claim back your seconds. Recall that story. Recall whenever you are taking that mobile in the bathroom. Recall that story of Archimedes. Correct? You recall what Archimedes said, that when he was able to do the discovery, he ran out of bathroom, correct, by screaming Eureka. You don't have to run like that, correct? But he ran out of bathroom by screaming Eureka. That means even when you are alone in bathroom, you will be able to think and you will be able to come out with brilliant solutions. So please be alone in all these places wherever you can, correct? So time for thinking you will have to identify. Second, have your own memory. That means don't rely on the external memory. Try to write down as much as in the notebook, because the brain knows that you can forget the notebook. That's why whenever you are writing something in the notebook, the brain will try to remember it at the same time. So give exercise to your brain. Whenever you are unable to recall something, don't reach out to laptop, don't reach out to mobile. Give that extra exercise, give that pain to your brain so that it is able to recall. The third important thing, which is important for all of us, claim back your energy. Many a time we are investing our energy in seeing so many videos, in getting ourselves entertained. But please note that there is a huge importance attached to be bored. So you need to be bored. You need to be bored, because then only your brain, your neocortex will actually work. It will actually function. It will actually take you to some unexplored places within your own self, and you will be able to come out with some brilliant solution. And fourth important thing, you need to understand what matters and what doesn't. And that's where these 4 things will actually help you claim back your universe: time, space, energy, and matter. If you are able to do it, then certainly, friends, we can share with you that the fight is not actually outside. Correct? Because on the LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, you would have seen many people are posting so many things. But please note that you are not fighting those things. You need to fight something within. If you go deeper and deeper, if you reach the places which you are not your own self reached, you'll be able to come out with some brilliant solution, which actually you can say you can be proud of, and also it will help you extend your own career. That's where these are the 4 important steps, I think, which you need to implement in your own life, which will help you become future proof. Now let us understand what are the steps which an organization can take to become future proof. As far as organizations are concerned, friends, even organizations are facing the same challenge. What we have to do, the first thing we have to do is basically we have to train ourselves to think exponentially. The other day, you'll recall in the second session, we talked about the fact that typically our mind is used to the AP growth. But it is not about no AP growth, it's about GP growth, that is geometric progression. And that's where whenever we are thinking, whenever we are projecting that these things are going to happen, just try to think exponentially also. So typically one would be a way of thinking wherein you can say that today this is happening, tomorrow this will happen. But second, at the same time think, can instead of these things happening after maybe 5 years, what if these things happen just within 2 years? What if these things happen just within 1 year? So think like that. If you are able to think in that manner, then you can say that you are thinking exponentially, and then you will be able to come out with some brilliant ideas which can help you extend life of your organization. Second important thing for your organization or business is that instead of somebody else destroying your business, try to destroy your own business. That doesn't mean that you have to close down your business. Just try to understand what can lead to closure of your business. We have seen in the last 3 lectures, we have done a detailed research, we have done a detailed discussion as to what are the various trends which are emerging, correct? What can actually lead to closure of your business. Try to identify which trends can actually lead to closure of business and can you do something about it, correct? If you are unable to do something about it, then try to think in second manner that can you create a separate division? Can you create a separate arm of your own organization, a small arm? Can you do all those experiments there, correct? A new experiment wherein you will be able to provide the same goods, services, whatever you are doing, product, in a different manner to your own customers, your own consumers, correct? So can you do that? Because if you are able to do it, then practically you'll be able to survive much longer. So rather than, I would say, carrying out experiment, just think, can you be an experiment itself? That means your small arm, can it become an experiment itself? That means, can you do all those experiments, whatever you wanted to carry out in that particular arm? Friends, it is always said that if there is a darkness, we cannot remove the darkness by saying, oh, there is a darkness, oh, there is a darkness. We just have to light a match, correct? If you light a match, naturally the darkness will go away. That's where if you fear that something will going to close your operations or you are going to lose business because of that, identify that particular thing and work upon that opportunity. Maybe start small, but try to think that can you take it or make it big. Finally, friends, I would like to share that apart from destroying your own business, trying to understand how your business can be destroyed, also think what's coming up, correct? And for that, what's new, I can be a good trigger word. Always try to say what's new. Many a time what happens that we always try to discuss about the past. I think 80, 90, 100% of the time, we always go back to our legacy. So instead of that, take these 2 words, write it down in your notebook. Whenever you are opening up that notebook, on the first page, write down what's new. That means in your own industry, if there is something new, just write it down. So your mind will take a note of it that this things is happening. Then your mind will think over a couple of weeks, over a couple of months, can our own business, can we customize our business in this manner that we can take this opportunity, correct? So try to write down whatever is new in your business and try to make a separate note of it. And you have to be, as an organization, all of us now need to be obsessed with future. Also, as we discussed the other day, try to understand which are the startups which are working in an area which is closer to your area of business, correct? Because of those business, because of those startup, if it is likely that your organization is going to get disrupted, then try to follow those startups. Then also you'll be in a position to identify a good business opportunity for your own business. Then finally, friends, we will also like to share with you that it is not only the business owner who should train themselves, not only the CEO, the CFO, but we should train our entire team about the future. If you are able to train the entire team about the future, certainly not only you will come out with some brilliant point, but also your team can come out with some brilliant point. What happens typically with innovation, with invention, because there is no deadline, none of us ever work, none of us ever wonder about the future because there is no deadline. So what we should do, we should always have some deadline in our mind. Maybe a couple of months, one can say, maybe 6 months, maybe 1 year, but try to give that much amount of time and say that within 1 year, I will come out with an interesting business idea. Within 6 months, I will come out with some interesting business idea. Within 3 months, I will come out with some interesting business model, correct? So try to give a deadline, correct? And try to give yourself some time also at the same time. Don't rush. Don't say that tomorrow only a new idea should come. That never ever happens. Try to give yourself some time, and then the idea will emerge. But at the same time, as we discussed, it is extremely important. Not only you should be worried about the future, but you need to expose your team members also for the future, so that not only you are working on the future, but your entire team along with you is working on the future. And that's where, friend, today we are extremely happy and we are very delighted to share with you that two of the participants have requested us to conduct a special in-house training for their team members. So one company which is participating here, one CEO has requested us to conduct a training for the board of senior professionals within their company, like the CFO, the CTO. So they are saying that all the senior team members in the various departments, they will join for the training. So we are thankful to them for giving us this opportunity. And there is another company which is having around a 50 member plus team, around 45, I think, team members are there in that company. They have requested us to conduct similar training, but not for the seniors, but for their entire organization over a couple of next weeks. So we are extremely thankful to them, and from them only we got this idea that it is not only we as senior CEO, business owner, we should actually train ourselves, but we should actually train our entire team. And if not entire team, at least the senior business heads, maybe the procurement head, sales head, IT head, legal head, HR head. We should identify these heads and we should train them about the future. Friends, certainly when we look at the future, it's but natural for all of us to get worried, correct? But this one particular poem which is there, which I would share with you, can be of great help to all of you. Whenever you are worried, just read this poem and you will be able to find the hope within all of us, which is residing within all of us. Friends, when you look at the future, one thing which actually bothers us is in all the technological development which we have seen, the AI, the machine learning, correct? All this technological development which we have seen, what we have actually worried about, or what we are more bothered about, is the fact that where is India in all this technological development? Because look at the search engines. There are two biggest search engines right now in the entire world. One is Google, and the equally prominent is Baidu, which is a Chinese, I would say, copy paste of Google. Then social media, there is Facebook, and in China there is Tencent. For shopping, there is Amazon of USA. Then in China there is Alibaba. For transport, there is Uber of USA, and then there is Didi of China. For payment, there is Apple Pay, Google Pay, and then in China there is Alipay. WhatsApp, there is WeChat. Twitter, there is a Sina Weibo. YouTube, literally they have also copied the name also in China, correct? For dating, there is Tinder, there is Momo. So as far as mobile is concerned, there is Apple, and then we have Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi, correct? So you can understand that literally the Chinese government, the Chinese entity, they have literally created a parallel to fight with USA companies, correct? And please note, if you go to China, Facebook doesn't work in China. Gmail doesn't work in China. It is banned, correct? But what we are doing in India, we are practically allowing each and every app to function. Friends, please note, for any app, for any artificial intelligence, for any new technologies to become successful, what you need is basically real-time data. Because it is said data is the new oil. And please understand that in India, we are 130 crore people. The kind or the amount of data which we are able to generate is unparalleled, correct? But in spite of that, in spite of having those many number of people, correct, in spite of having such a brilliant young population, instead of inventing, rather than that, what we are doing, we are just using some other apps. And that's very unfortunate part, friend. And that's where, as we discussed the other day, we as entrepreneurs, all of you belong to business families, you are CEOs, you are business owners. We should also try to come out with our own version of a success by way of starting our own startup whenever possible. It might be a startup in your own area. And again, you don't have to start your own startup. You can even invest in some startup wherein you feel, wherein you believe that there's a good amount of possibility of success. So you can also promote startup in that particular manner. So this is something, one area which all of us Indians, we need to work. So friends, with this, we are through with our session for the day. Now I will request our next speaker for the day, Purnima Madam, to take over the session. I will briefly share with you about Purnima Madam, and then Purnima Madam will share her thoughts with all of us. Purnima Madam. Purnima Madam, have you joined? I think there is some connection problem. Just give me a. Yes, Purnima Madam is here. So before Purnima Madam start discussing, I would like to welcome you, Madam. I would just like to share brief about Purnima Madam. Purnima Madam is a CFO at Principal Global, and she has been at leadership role at various organizations, including some of the Fortune 500 companies. Purnima Madam has also worked in Europe and USA, and she has a diversified experience in corporate finance, taxation, transfer pricing, treasury management, risk management, and corporate strategy. So with this, Madam, we would like to request you to share your thoughts on future, as well as what you would like all the participants to learn. So we are grateful to you for accepting our invitation, and now the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Pritam. And I must thank you also for this opportunity. First of all, congratulations for you to join, make this webinar happen. This is a wonderful experience, and I am sure, I think these last 4 sessions have been a excellent learning, I would say, time for all of us. And the passion with which you talk about the topic, it tells you that how close, all these topics are close to your heart. And the vision that you are carrying and the passion that you want to share your vision with everybody is really, really excellent. Some of the connotations that you used are, I would say, it's kind of, definitely somebody has to think on, like the point that you share today, that okay, claim back your universe. I think we all are human beings, and in last since the human beings started living their life in so-called modernized world, I think what has really helped them is only when they really get into their own minds to think around what's really happening around them, and how
Yes.
do they kind of do something about it and make use of that for their own growth. Yeah, so it has been a wonderful thought. And the another important point that you actually raised today is basically, I would just put it in a little different manner, is basically challenging the fundamentals with which we do our businesses. And I believe that today there is a COVID-19 situation, because of which we think that yes, now everything is changing suddenly. The world which we are kind of used to is no longer around us. And I'm sure every industry is kind of having some or the other challenges. Maybe for some industries it is actually an opportunity, but for some industries it's kind of really kind of a complete disruption.
Yes.
And if they want to really claim back their position in the market, they have to really think how should they really change their business model altogether. And I would say that yes, this is a wonderful opportunity. And I would definitely thank you, Pritam, for whatever the thoughts that you shared in last 4 sessions. Wonderful. So just to kind of take the opportunity also, and with all our friends who are there in the webinar today, I will actually just kind of share my experience or my thoughts in this forum. And currently I actually work for a Principal Global Services, which is a IT company, a technology company, and it is also a GIC. It's a global in-house center. That means actually we have our the parent company in US. And I can tell you that when all this COVID-19 was coming up, we were all kind of, the management team members, thinking that how should we really respond. Definitely the first foremost important thing is, okay, how can we work from remote locations same effectively as we are doing today to our home office, so our services that we provide today to them should not get impacted at all. So that was a fundamental basic concern that all of us we had. And just to tell you, I know there are lots of other IT organizations who would probably have a work from home culture already, but because we are actually a part of a financial services company, we never had actually opted for this type of process to have in the organization. But then because of this external challenge suddenly coming on to you have to kind of face that challenge. And then we actually just within a week's time we decided to have all the arrangements changed, and every single employee is able to now work from home. So those 8 days were really kind of a stressful for the entire organization. So to your mind, point that you made today, which is actually very, very valid, that okay, why don't we ourselves disrupt our businesses and see, okay, how can we survive through that disruption? And if probably we are continuously able to do that, I am sure there is nobody else who can actually challenge us, because we are all prepared. The way that you said that, okay, when you actually have a peaceful time, then you can actually, use that particular time to build your muscles, so that when there is actually war, there is no, you don't have to have kind of, impact on you. And this is exactly what probably companies need to really do, that always kind of maybe challenge their fundamental assumptions. The some of the strength that we think sometimes are our strengths, something happens and that strength itself actually becomes one of the biggest weakness, and then we do not know how to really react to that. And as Preetham you shared in the various webinars, that every time we actually go with certain assumptions, and those assumptions actually fail, then we think that actually we are failing. But it's not we are failing, but
Yes.
maybe the important point here is that how do we kind of prepare ourselves, our businesses, to face all the challenges which may come externally tomorrow. I think am I audible? Because I think my connection is a little bit
Yes,
unstable. I
yes.
just got a message.
You are audible,
Okay,
madam.
very
You
good.
are audible.
Yeah, great, great. Yeah. So, with this COVID-19 situation, especially, I would say there are lots of industries who have got benefited, which probably they had even not thought of. And the digitization would actually kind of, I would say, will be a new normal for all of us. Because now most of the people who are able to work, they are actually working remotely. So that means the technology will play a bigger role and the biggest role. And now, over a period, manufacturing is one aspect which actually requires a physical handling of lot of stuff. But as we also know that manufacturing as such is reducing its percentage in the total GDP, and services are actually coming bigger and bigger. And if that happens, the technology is something is actually going to come very, very handy to us. And then very rightly, Pritam, your second last slide was really an eye opener. And it has been actually a concern, because I'm sure when the Niti Aayog is actually discussing about how should India reach the $5 trillion target of the GDP, we actually all of us have a concern that we are not a world leader in any of the kind of verticals. We might be very strong in almost all the verticals, that was at least in the digital area or the IT area is what I would say, but still there we have not made our mark. And what is really stopping us to do that? So
Very
I
true.
think the determination or that particular I would say one has to really dream for it. And are we lacking to see dreams? Because that's what sometimes I also feel, that okay, we always talk about that the India is actually the number one when it comes to the IT professionals, the technology knowledge and skills. But then where do we kind of are visible? Because most of us are actually working for some or the other Fortune 500 company which are not owned by any of Indians.
Mm.
And then where do we really stand? So I think now it's a really time to think for all of us, that how do we really make that change? And to be able to see all that, I think Pritam, whatever you have been sharing, I think all our small scale, medium scale players which are around, the entrepreneurs who are around, it's
Mm.
basically I have kind of when I interact with them, many of them are actually want to really find a lot of new opportunities to do business, even the startups, the youngsters. But I always struggle to see that why are we not really able to kind of see these big dreams? Because unless otherwise we really see those big dreams, maybe I don't think that commitment is a problem, dedication is a problem with the people. Because when we are kind of reskilling the people internally, the kind of passion that people have to learn the new technologies, to understand the new things, I don't see that they are lacking anywhere. But I think there is something that is lacking very big way in our country, that we don't see big dreams. And why
Mm.
should we always a number two? Why can't we be number one? And
Correct.
maybe is it a risk that somebody has to take and we are not ready for that? And when we say that particular risk, being one is a very different, because then the pressure that one carries is very different. But then that pressure can only go back when our dreams are even bigger than those pressures. Yeah?
Correct.
And
Correct.
I think there is a kind of a need to really do something about that. And I, frankly speaking, I do not know what needs to be really done. Maybe Pritam is the one, because he's also equally passionate about how can we
Yeah.
really make India visible on the world map, and kind of how can we really grow businesses in all sectors, in all the industries, and what really needs to be done. Because okay, government policies, infrastructure requirements, skill availability, all these are the kind of normal factors that we put around to make any businesses successful. But I think even suppose we put all those things there in the place, uh, unless otherwise we have that great passion to be number one, I think our journey will still not be complete. Yeah, that is what I really feel. Now I think, okay, this is just a little philosophical thought,
Yes.
but then I would just kind of also like to, I think I will just take one more minute,
Yeah. Please, madam.
Pritam, and then I'll kind
Yeah.
of
Please, please.
yeah. So just to share with you, because I kind of belong to a technology industry, then I thought that, whatever Pritam kind of shared with us, that how the things are really changing. And I would really echo with that. The reason is, the machine learning and the artificial intelligence is actually going to play a bigger role. Yeah. And then the
Correct.
data scientists would become the most important people, in the organization. And because they are the one who are actually able to see what the customers will need, which even customers are not able to tell themselves. Because if we know their kind of behavior, the environment around, the future challenges which are coming up, how the future may get translated into different realities, if we actually can do all the permutation combinations, because something of that will just the people who can compile all the data can bring up the trends, but the data scientist people who would actually be able to interpret that data and then try to see that how this current situation can transform into various different options. And then that would actually bring in a lot of insight, that would bring in lots of new business opportunities. And then that is how probably we can think that, okay, what more probably we can do. Because today probably even that may not be enough. Now the new world is even something different than that, and where are we really going towards that? If we can kind of think towards that and kind of try to see, okay, in which areas, in which type of sectors, in what way we should actually try to do something or try to invest our efforts. I'm not saying only the financial efforts, because finance is one of it, but I think first of all our thought process, that is a bigger investment than anything else. Yeah.
Correct.
And if we are able to do that, I think probably we can really do something, make a difference in the world. Yeah.
Very true.
That is what I would actually like to share, Pritam. But
So,
thank you very much. It was a wonderful experience. I learned a lot myself by listening to you, and kind of the way you think, all 360-degree manner. I would say the words are not enough to really, thank you and appreciate you.
No, rather, so nice of you, madam. Rather, it's only because of all of you joining. I think we were able to share all these insights with all of you, and then certainly the interaction with you also has helped us understand the future to some extent. So thank you. Thanks for joining today and sharing your thoughts, and also joining for all the sessions. So now, now we would like to request Sabde sir to share his views on the future, and what are the big takeaways from the last 3 sessions for all of us. Yes, Abdi sir, the floor is yours.
Yes. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Just I'm turning my video on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for giving me an opportunity to present today. Last few sessions, Pritam has a very powerful message for all of us, and this is eye-opening. This is very useful. Some of the takeaways from this that I have noted down is the importance of recognizing the consumer patterns. how that is helping these large companies to adopt and to learn from them. And I think this is applicable in every business. Secondly, many of these companies who have evolved and sustained for a long time, they have not really done drastically different things, but they have adopted, they have utilized the new tools that became available to them. And so it's their incremental innovations that has really helped them to sustain for such a long time. And the message here is, I think we need to drive the change. We need to drive and lead these new technologies rather than trying to simply adopt it and establish the leadership through driving and leading the technologies. The example of Best Buy was very powerful. I had lived many years in United States, and I was a regular visitor to Best Buy like everybody else. And in this Amazon time, the retailers had so much of difficulty. Best Buy was able to sustain by changing their business model, and
Correct.
I did not know that. That was learning for me, but it's an eye opener. And while others have filed bankruptcies, they have sustained and done well through this.
Correct.
The biggest learning today was cut down on non-essential time, and it's something I tell my children, and now I am encouraged to emphasize it further.
Yes.
I had opportunity to work on two famous companies. One was 3M and another Micron Technology.
Wonderful.
So 3M is considered as one of the most innovative company in the world. They always ranked in top 5 in innovations. And fortunately, I was hired in 3M as a change agent. So had opportunity to influence things. In 3M, we are expected to spend 20% time on new technology, no matter how busy you are or whatever may be. But Fridays are supposed to be for new technology. And as a manager, I hated it because my people will not work on Friday, I would think. Because I came from Micron background where hard work was the main mantra. But 3M also starts thinking about eliminating a business if it has less than 25% gross margin.
Yes.
So that learning was extremely helpful for me, and I will come to how I'm able to utilize that today. Micron Technology, on the other hand, was in computer memory, and computer memory also has a cutthroat competition, and every 18 months the next chip has to come. The way your laptop has become so powerful today that it is a lot more powerful than a mainframe 20-25 years ago. The reason for that is these continuous advancements the computer chip companies have done. And it was a matter of survival. If you miss 1 or 2 cycles, we will become non-existent. So the technology development was in the forefront in the company, and where we used to get together at 7:30 in the morning in so-called war room to decide next course of action on daily basis, by the way.
Wow.
The senior managers. So, but what I would like to emphasize is that the thing I learned in Micron Technology is breakthroughs don't happen very often. There was a transistor breakthrough happened in 1960s, and because of which the Intel and these computer chips and CPU, memory, laptops, everything has evolved from that. However, in between, so many small incremental continuous improvements have happened in this period. that on daily basis they look small, and 2 years down the line when you look back, the product is so different compared to what it was that time, and it is so superior. And it many times it takes basic science and engineering, and it's not really PhDs and all that is really required. Many times um, uh, it's at the most high school and engineering. The basic things are most of the basic things are covered honestly in high school itself. So the budget, by the way, the R&D budget in Micron and 3M used to be around 6%. So 6% is significant. The profits may be 15%, and out of that 6%, half of the profits you are spending in R&D. But they had recognized one thing, that survival will happen only if they do that. And um, in fact, those are high-tech companies. For most of the manufacturing business where they want to do better and better things, 2-3% expense on development is more than enough, in my opinion. So now coming back to, I came back to India in 2010 and established Reliance Solar. And solar was new that time, and we got a very good response. We were able to differentiate in the market. We had the knowledge, and but we had recognized one thing, that this differentiation may not remain over a long period of time. And we started seeing that by 2013, hundreds of competitors had come in the market, but the issue is by 2015 and 16, there were thousands of competitors, and now the electrical contractors and electricians also thought that they could do the job. So our competitive edge started going away. People started copying it, and our margin started dropping so much. From gross margin of 30%, it came down to below 10% of gross margin. But during that period, we had started working on a number of new technologies that are related to solar. And that really helped us. For example, we worked on BLDC motors, and we have now a subsidiary which makes brushless DC motors. Without going into details, it is an essential thing for electrical vehicles, or solar water pumps, or drones and robots. So all new sustainable development that is happening. People talk about data, and data is very important. Big guys are working on that. But there are other trends, like BLDC motor is one of the fastest growing sector. And unfortunately, we are proud to say that we are the Indian manufacturer in it, and we through innovation that helps for cost cutting. We will be able to compete with anybody, including China at the end. Yes, some of the materials might be a bit more expensive here, but if our designs are better, and if the motors are smaller and they are more reliable, plus locally available, to our benefit, government has put 10% tax on import of these motors, so it helps. So without this transition, I don't think Reliance Solar would have survived, or if it did survive, it would worry about whether the net profit is going to be 2% or 2.5%, and we will have to work very hard to increase it from 2 to 2.5, and we did not want to do that. So and by the way, I had no background in BLDC motors. The reason we went into it, because there was a market in it. I am a chemical engineer, so I have no background in motors. We use IIT's help, we use COEP professors' help for motors and electronics. And they were happy because they feel that they are contributing now, and the cost was not much high. Like we paid some consultancy fees to them, and we had to be very patient. We had to go and sit there, but we were able to marry the industrial needs with academia, and that is very important. There is a lot of knowledge with academia. We don't trust that they can do good job. But if we do hand holding, they'll be very happy to do this. And uh, when I was in 3M, I had opportunity to lead university industry collaborations, and so I was able to apply that here. And
Wonderful.
as a result, we could do this in a frugal manner. And our R&D budget is only 2 to 3%. We don't require 6%.
Amazing.
For all this to happen. So technology can happen in India. I strongly believe it. Anybody who is interested in pursuing that, any technology, because if it is not with us, if it is not with you, there is somebody else who would have basic knowledge, and we will utilize that basic knowledge and try to make sense out of it. So this way, and I think for Atmanirbhar or for Make in India, the way is that we should drive the technology and things will fall in place.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, no, thanks, Sabde sir. Thanks for sharing your insights. Friends, sincere apologies, sir. मैंने आपका profile share नहीं किया था, so I will just like to share with all of you that Sabde sir is a PhD in chemical engineering from USA. He has an MTech degree from IIT Bombay, and presently he is MD of Relion Solar Private Limited. Before starting his own venture of Relion, he was CTO of 3M Corporation in USA, and he was also a technology director in Micron Technology, as he shared. He is author of 29 patents and 5 publications. So thanks Sabde sir for sharing your insights, and we are extremely pleased to see you joining and actively contributing in the last 4 sessions. So thanks for sharing your insights. The one thing I really liked about the fact that the case study which we shared of Best Buy, you could really found it of relevant. That was one thing. And second, we are also extremely happy to see the way you are taking your company to the next level. The way you are using the academia for doing the R&D and at a very reasonable cost is, I think, a big takeaway for all of us, all the participants, that you can also think of this kind of a collaboration wherein all of us can try to collaborate with the academia, try to share with them the practical problems, and they can sometime, not every time, but sometimes they can come out with brilliant solutions. Obviously, you will have to handhold them because they are not exposed to practical challenges, as Sabde sir said, but it might be worth it because, and Sabde sir has in his own company has implemented it. I think it's worth implementing in other companies as well. And second important takeaway from Sabde sir was with respect to the innovation which he has done in his own company, and because of innovation, he was able to ensure that his company sustains for more couple of years or for couple of decades. So this is amazing, sir. Thanks for joining, and thanks for sharing your thoughts. So I thank both the speaker for the day, Purnima madam as well as Sabde sir, for sharing their insights and guiding all the participants, including us, about the future. Friends, now we are on the last part of the session. Because today is the last day, we would like to share with you some important thing, and we would like to also request you to share some of the critical insights. We would like to get it from your side as well. So we'll request you to share your insights also. So this is. So what we would like, I think, all the participants in the chat box, we will request all the participants and even today's speaker to share their one thing which they liked about the session. If you don't want to share on the chat box, please WhatsApp us on our mobile. I think all of you have our mobile number also. So one thing which you liked, one improvement which you would like to share. If you think that it means rather you should share one improvement with us, because it's equally important for us to understand what are the improvements where we can improvise as a professional. That is extremely important. As a training, what we can conduct in the next training, what we can cover in the next session, because we intend to continue to have these kind of sessions in the next couple of months. We are also, as we discussed, we will be taking these sessions for 2 of the participants within their company. So we'd like to understand what can be improved in the next coming session. Please feel free, don't hesitate at all. Don't have an iota of doubt regarding that whether your improvement, whether we will like it or not. Rather, we would love to hear from your side. So please share one single improvement which you think that can make a big difference or small difference in the next coming session. And we would also request you to share a name or contact detail, contact number of one of the person who can get benefited by these sessions. We will be more than happy to invite them in the next series of our How to Be Future Proof session. We'll be more than happy to invite them. So please share one reference or one or two reference which you think who the people who would like to or love to join the session. So please feel free to share that on our WhatsApp number. Please feel free to share that on our the chat box, the Q&A box. Maybe friends, in the next couple of sessions, maybe after few decades or few years, in the webinar, I think the speaker of the day, instead of us, it might be the real speaker who will be talking to you. But till that happens, we'll be more than happy to support you, to understand your concern, to help you around with all the technological changes, and be your rather a partner rather than guide or mentor on these topics. So we'll be more than happy to get your thoughts on this. So with this, friend, we are through with our today's session. We'll again see you maybe after a couple of weeks on a new topic or continuation of the current topic, because there are many things which we did not cover because of the paucity of time. We have done a detailed case studies on some of the sector, be it real estate, restaurant, which we intend to take separately. Also few other sector as well, IT companies and all. So there are many other interesting case studies which are there on RPA, AI and all that, which we intend to cover at a next level, maybe after a couple of months. But before that, or if you feel, if you believe that we can be of help to conduct a training session in your company for your colleagues, please feel free to contact. We'll be more than happy to collaborate with you and then take the discussion forward. So with this, I thank you all for joining us for this series. I hope that the objective of the series, which was to share a vision of the future with all of you, and we hope that this vision will help you not succeed for next couple of months, but rather next 1 decade or more. If we have given that much insights to you, and obviously it was only possible with your active participation. So if that is true, that if you have received that much understanding logic, then we think that the session was, this webinar series was more than successful. So thank you all. Thanks for joining. I thank you again. I thank the speakers also, like Rajesh Bhasin sir last time, Purnima madam this time, and also Sabde sir this time. There are few participants who would like to share few points. I think Gupta sir would like to share some points. So Gupta sir, you are also, I am promoting you as a panelist. So if there is any point you would like to share, please feel free to share. So Vijay Gupta sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So Vijay
Thank
Gupta
you,
sir is
Pratham,
from.
it is indeed an excellent session. I have been hearing it for patiently, and this is really giving us an insight that we have to really move with more and more thoughts in terms of how we can bring technology as
विजय गुप्ता सर, आपका आवाज चला गया. हेलो विजय गुप्ता सर.
Hello.
हाँ sir, now we can hear you. Before Vijay Gupta sir shares his views, I would like to share that Vijay Gupta sir is the CEO MD of a company called as Softtech Engineers. It's a IT company wherein hundreds of engineers are employed, and they work exclusively or rather very closely with almost all the state government across India. And not only in India, they also intend to expand their operation to across the world. Their product actually helps the government to actually reduce the manpower requirement and to focus more on processes rather than people. So a very learned professional, Vijay Gupta sir, an engineer by himself, and a brilliant company he has by name as Softtech. So please sir, now you please feel free to share.
Thank you very much, Preetham, for praising words. But I would really like to thank you for giving such an excellent session of this presentation, which can really make us prepare for the future. And what I have seen is your zeal to explain the technology and understanding of this technology as to how it can be really brings change into us. My only point is, though we have been really helping the world all across for providing the latest technologies and working with the latest innovations all over the world, we are very much behind in terms of creating our own products. And I think this is the time that this product scenario engagements and bringing in products of our own will reduce a lot of dependencies from the other countries. And I look forward to this participation throughout. Thank you very much, Preetham.
Thanks sir. Thanks
And everybody.
Yes, thanks for joining and actively participating. If anyone would like to share his thoughts, please feel free to let us know through chat or raise your hand.